Hi guys, can you hear me? Nice to see you all out there. I'm a complete newbie to Instagram, so all the technical things that are going to go wrong in this episode, I can just blame on being, a boomer. So you guys will just have to forgive me for that. Good to see all of you out there. We're going to talk to somebody who I think is somebody quite interesting. We'll find out a little bit more about her, but before that, let me tell you a little bit about what we are doing this with, what Hudle is all about. And, you guys will read the text and you'll read what it's all about. But Hudle really, what you need to find out is what Hudle is about. Hudle is about basically getting people together to play, finding them a place to play. And if they're interested in organizing tournaments and playing in a professional way, finding a place for that and helping them play by coaching. I mean, that's very simple. Anything that you require to get fit is what Hudle tries to do. I can't say that I started Hudle. That was started by Suhail and a band of really, really, motivated guys. But when they came and spoke to me about it, I said, this is something that sounds like a bit of something that I'd like to be a part of. So that's where I am. Now, all we need to do is find out where my guest is. And for that, I need to pick up the phone and actually figure out whether I can see anybody who's there willing to join me, because I think it's important to have people out here. If I can find out where my guest for today is, it'd be rather useful. Can't see her yet, so let me just wait on till then. I can tell you a little bit more about Hudle. What else can I do? 200 plus venues, 40 plus venues, which are exclusively Hudle venues, and it's important. It's important. I think I was brought up personally, as you can make out by all this white hair, in a situation where roti kapda and makan was everything. And now there's something a bit more than that. People are saying that, we have the opportunity to play, we want to play. And to be very honest with you, there isn't that much organized to make you play. So the basic idea of Hudle is make it easier for you who's not a professional athlete to be a part of sport. So that's what we're trying to do out here with Hudle. And let me just try and find out if I can see our guest for the day. Okay, I might as well start telling you about our guest for the day. Our guest for the day is basically Aditi Chauhan, and she's quite something. She's India's current goalkeeper as well. She's played for West Ham ladies, and she's really been one of the pioneers of Indian sport, because the point at which she started playing, there were very few people in Indian sport. So yeah, it was fantastic. She's going to be out there, and hopefully she'll join us at some point in time. At this point in time, I can't see her out there, so I'm hoping that she'll be there soon. Is she there? She kicks is her ID. I'm trying to find out if she's there or not. No, not yet. There. She kicks is there. She wants to be a part of the live video. Thank you, Aditi. Thank you for being there and getting me out of here. Okay, we are going live with Aditi right now. That's Aditi's online. Hopefully, we've got her online. I'm trying to connect her up. And as I said, any technical mistakes that have been made on this are all mine. So, waiting for She Kicks to join. Let's see what out here. Nishant Singhal says, hello, hi, Nishant. How are things? As I said, all of us are going through interesting times in this lockdown, but it's a really good time to think about what we do with sport, what sport means to us. And I can tell you that I'd never thought a day would come when I think longingly about going downstairs for a run. It's one of those things. And the one thing that I miss most at home, which I can't seem to order as well, is skipping rope. Because skipping rope is not something that you get very easily. We're still waiting for Aditi to join us. And let me tell you a little bit more about her in that case. She's, as I said, she's from Loughborough. Aditi is unable to join. She tried to join. She couldn't get in. I don't know why that happened. Maybe her connection is not great. Let's see if she tries again, and we'll try and see if we can get hold of her. We'll see. Let's see if She Kicks shows up again. So in the meantime, let me tell you a little bit more about her. So really, let's see what's happening out there. And wait a minute, is She Kicks coming in again? Wait, let's see if I can. Sorry, my apologies. Still waiting for Aditi, but as I said, fascinating to have you people out there. So why don't you do something? I'm going to watch out for Aditi's questions. I'm going to watch out for She Kicks, whether she can join us. In the meantime, if you have, there's another request to be connected. Let's see. This time we should do it. Go live. Okay. Let's see if this happens. Waiting again for Aditi to join. Let's see what happens. Yeah,
Hello.
hi. Hello. Hi, Aditi. We finally got you.
Yeah,
Thanks so
finally.
much for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, to be speaking with you.
No, it's really it's our pleasure to have you out here. And I said, in women's sport, there's so much happening, and you've been really a pioneer of it. So I'm going to start off with you, and I'm going to start off like any good Manmohan Desai film from the very start, separated to the Kumbh Mela type. So when did you first start seriously playing football,
Actually, football came quite late in my career, in my life. I was always into sports, but I started playing football when I was, I think, 17 was when I played my first, 16 was when I played my first national, and I was 17 when I got my first India cap for the under-19 national.
Wow. But just tell me one thing. At what point, firstly, I think you played basketball before football. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what made that switch to football? Was it some coach nearby, somebody playing? What made that switch to football?
Yeah, I mean, before football, I played a lot of other sports, basketball being one of them. So football was just for the sport at that time. For me, my sports teacher at the school, he suggested that since I had that basketball background, which gave me the skills of good hand-eye coordination. I was physically fit as well, agile. And I think considering all that, he suggested to me that I should go out and try as a goalkeeper. It wasn't my decision, to be honest. It was his suggestion. I just followed. I just followed him. Followed his suggestion, and that's how I ended up being a goalkeeper. But obviously, as I progressed in my career, I realized that this is the position that fits me perfectly, and brings the best out of me. So I stuck with the goalkeeping.
Okay, just one question, and it's very interesting because I work with a company called Baseline as well, and we deal with a lot of women athletes and young athletes as well when they come in. So Smriti Mandana has this one question which she always asks, and she asks all the athletes that: at what point did you know you were good enough to play for India? At what point did it hit you that, hey, you know what, I'm good enough to play for the country?
For me, it was the first time I got the national team jersey. That is a dream for every athlete, for every athlete. So the first time I got my national team jersey was the moment for me and for my family to realize that this is the sport that I want to focus on. And post that, I quit all the other sports, stopped playing all the other sports, and focused entirely and completely on football.
Okay, so that was the point at which you focused absolutely and completely on football. Interesting. I mean, that's one of the things that, it happens. At what point do you take that call? Just a quick apology. People are saying that the sound is not particularly clear, but my apologies there. I can't really change that right now. So we'll have to go on and we'll try and figure it out next time. Aditi, so from there, so you now play football. You are in this situation. You've played football. You've played for the country. What is the big problem with football right now? Were there enough women's games there for you to keep busy? Once you started playing, you played for the country, you played a tournament, say you played SAP games. What happens after that?
So I started in 2008, and back then we didn't have any team, any girls team. There was no place for me to go and train throughout the year. The only training that I got most part of my career was going to the national team camp. And that that lot of things that makes me think that if I had got proper training, proper good sessions throughout the years, I would have probably my career would have been much better, or I would have been playing much better than I am now. But and that's something that I feel that needs to be changed. I hope that with a lot of developments happening in the sports industry in the coming years, I hope that things change for the better. But while growing up, there were no competitions, there were no clubs, there were no teams at school level or the private level. But that I've seen that has changed dramatically in the past 2 years. Lot more tournaments at school level, and a lot of private tournaments also being organized. Five-side, 50-side, full 11-side as well. Even at school level, most of the schools, at least in Delhi, I've seen that we have a girls team now. So again, that is a very positive thing. But obviously, we still have a long way to go in terms of professionalizing women's football in India.
Okay, just hold on, Aditi. I'm going to try and solve this earphone problem by trying to put on earphones because apparently they're getting a bit of an echo. And that's purely my fault because I'm these old men don't know how to sort these things. So just hold on a second.
I need to put the earphones here.
Let me see if this works, Aditi. I've got a pair of running. If this works, life will be better for all of us. As I said, we can't solve global warming, but can we solve earphones? Just hold on. Okay, I think I'm on, and this should give you an echo. Aditi, go on. Aditi, can you hear me? Hey, Aditi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, we are both on earphones now. This is so cool. Man, we are technology geniuses right now. Okay, here goes. I want to ask you that, you started playing football. There are not enough camps, not out there. But you're saying the last 2 years, things have really changed. What has really made a difference? Is this Indian Women's League? What has really changed in Indian women's football?
I think in the past 2 years, the Indian women's national team has been doing really well at the international level. We've been winning a lot of important tournaments, good friendly matches that we've been playing, getting good results. I think that has been a big impact on the supporters, on the way people are looking at the women's football. And I think that's one of the biggest changes. But apart from that, I feel the league, the Indian Women's League, is again a very positive step, which is encouraging more youngsters, more young girls to participate and take up football. And I think the Under-17 World Cup that we hosted, again, that brought a lot of eyes, a lot of awareness amongst parents, amongst people, supporters. They realize the importance of football and what the potential of football is. And I think the way professionalism is developing in men's football, it's rubbing off on the women's football as well. And I think that is what is bringing some change in the way people perceive women's football and their outlook towards women's football.
I'm glad you said that because I spent 4 years of my 3.5 to 4 years of my life working on that very Under-17 World Cup, which was an amazing experience. The great thing is you're going to have a Women's World Cup Under-17 as well.
I was looking forward to it. Unfortunately, it's been postponed now.
Yeah, but the good thing is when it's going to happen, it's going to come back with an even bigger bang. Question, there are a lot of people out here who will not know enough about your Women's League. Tell us a little bit about it. How many teams? I know you play for Gokulam. How many teams are there? How long do you play? Just a little bit about it.
So this year was the 4th edition of the IWL. Initially, the first season, I think there were about 10 teams, 8 or 10 teams in the first edition. And the structure, I think because it's a new league and the new setup that was started by the AIFF, they are also still trying to figure out what's the best structure for women's football right now. So the structure has been changing in the past couple of years. This year, there was a preliminary round, which was basically in each state, all the clubs who wanted to play in the IWL registered. They had a small league within each state, and I think the leaders of and the team that won that preliminary round in each of the states then qualified for the final round. Some of the so the rule says that the ISL and the I League clubs have a direct entry in the final round, and that is the reason While Gokulam, well, although we did play the qualifier, so I think the rules are still changing every year. But I played for Gokulam. We played like a qualifying round against a team from Haryana. I'm forgetting the name. We played against them, and then we managed to qualify for the final round.
And how many matches did you end up playing in a season?
I think so. There were two pools of 4 or 5 teams each, if I'm not wrong. But it's just concluded, but it feels like it's been years since it's finished. The lockdown period has had an effect on my memory, it seems.
So, okay, I'm going to ask you quickly a lockdown question before we go back to football. How are you keeping fit? Tell me the secret because we are all going mad at home.
Yeah, post the IWL, I'd come to Bangalore to do a bit of my rehab because I had some niggles during the IWL and the national team duration. So I thought I'll come here, do my rehab, and go back to Delhi. But I'm stuck here. I had my physio friends here, so I'm staying with them. I think unfortunately, that it's helped me stay fit. We've got 2 physios in the house, so we have 2 sessions every day. Good managing my injuries also, and I think that's helping me stay fit, keeping me on track to be at top of my game when the lockdown period ends.
It's amazing. I mean, everyone else is going mad with their family. You're missing your family, but you're the fittest you've ever been in your life. You have no chance. 2 physios in the house. You're not going to get away with anything.
I'm looking forward to ending this the end of this lockdown.
I know that much. 2 workouts a day is okay. It's a bit much. I know it's getting to you. But tell me something. Just tell us a little bit more about you're the first woman. Before Baladevi went, you played for West Ham United ladies. So tell us first. I want to ask about Loughborough studying an MBA there because normally footballers are not associated with taking academics, and then of course West Ham. Tell us a little bit about both.
So when I was so I was doing my graduation and BCom honors from Delhi University, and by then I was already playing for the senior national team, and I was the first choice goalkeeper. So I was doing well in the Indian setup, and I thought, then the question of what to do, what to take up as a career, and what do I do later. And I was good in studies as well, so I had this passion and this interest of making a difference, and I would just talk to my parents about, this is what I want to do in sports. What can I do to be in a position where I can actually make some changes at the ground level? So mm, me coming from a military background, they also didn't have a lot of exposure in terms of the fields and the various professions within the sports industry. So they thought that because I was good in studies, they suggested that I should give the civil services exams and become an IPS officer. And and that's how I could get into some decision making position. But slowly, thankfully, at the third year of my graduation, we had a Delhi University team was sent to Lincoln University in New Zealand, which was a sports university in New Zealand, through an that they had between the universities. And that's when I came. I was just going through the brochure of that university and saw all these courses mentioned within the sports industry: sports management, physiotherapy, sports journalism, and various other things. And that's when I realized, there's so many fields within this industry. It's not just what I was told and what knowledge I had was only that you can either be a player or you can be a coach. And that's about it if you're getting into the sports field. Which but that experience, that exposure changed my opinion, changed it really broadened my knowledge and knowledge about things. So that's when I thought, sports management is what I want to do. So I came back. It was really difficult for me to convince my parents, tell them that I want to, because at that time we didn't have any sports management courses in India. and it wasn't that popular. No one really knew what the career was like, and this was about 2014. Um, and what the career options would be, how stable it is, that industry, the sports industry is. So it was, again, I mean, full credit to my parents also for understanding my passion towards sports and what I wanted to do. Ultimately, through a lot of struggle, they were convinced, and they were ready to send me to UK to do sports management. And the same year, my brother also decided to go to US to do his MBA in sports management from US. And that's basically how. And I think that Loughborough experience was a very important and turning point for me. The kind of exposure that I got there. Loughborough University was the reason why the West Ham thing happened. I got the opportunity to play for a club like West Ham. And so I'm very fortunate that I was, my parents gave me the courage to, pursue my passion and see how far I can go.
So how was that? Tell me a little bit more about this West Ham. You walk in; it's a historic club. I mean, it is dripping with history. And so, how was it? Did you play matches there? What matches did you play? How was it?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more.
So Loughborough, so when my course ended in Loughborough, I got an internship in London. So I moved from Loughborough to London, got an internship with Decathlon. I was playing for the university while I was studying there. So when I moved to London, my friend Tanvi was already in London. She was playing. She was playing for Tottenham reserve side, and I spoke to her. I told her that I was playing there, playing in Loughborough, but since I'm moved to London, I want to explore more opportunities here. Obviously, there are just so many clubs. Every little corner has their own club, and so many opportunities to play. So I thought, just for the sake of playing, I didn't. Obviously, you never think of how people are going to perceive, or how you never imagine that it's going to be covered in the media. So for me, it was just about playing football. I wanted to test myself because I played for the national team. I was playing for the senior team, and I wanted to see where do I stand in the English setup, English football. So I started. I gave trials. So Millwall FC was the club that was closest to my house, and I went there, gave trials for I think 2 weeks. Got selected. So when they were doing the online registration, they asked for my passport and everything. And in the registration process, they came to know that since I was on a student visa, I could not play. It was a second division club. So on student visa, I could not play for a professional club. So I could not play for first division or second division. So the goalkeeper coach of Millwall, he was also the goalkeeper coach of West Ham, which was a third division club back then.
Okay.
So so he suggested that they are also looking for a goalkeeper. I could go and give trials there. That's how I ended up at West Ham, gave trials there, and got selected. Played an amazing season with the team as the first choice goalkeeper. Again, that was a very good experience. I didn't just want to sit on the bench when it was West Ham or any other club. It was about the experience I wanted to gain. So fortunately, I got to play all the matches in the season.
Wow, that must have been absolutely amazing. The other thing is that goalkeepers really internationally also goalkeepers hit their peak only in their 30s. So at least you've chosen smartly. You've got long career ahead of you.
Yeah.
That way you could be playing for a long, long time. And do you see women's football in the outside? Look, you guys are already 40 to 45 places ahead of the men's team. Okay,
right.
The men's team is about 108, 109. You girls are at what, 56, 57 now? Somewhere there, right?
55. Yeah.
55. Wow, not bad at all. So you guys think you can be playing a senior World Cup soon?
I think it's still a long shot. For me personally, I think it's important for us to focus on Asia first. It's important. We have some really tough teams in Asia, so it's important for us to get better and try and give the Asian teams a tough fight before we focus on the World Cup. But of course, I think.
Okay, and tell me something.
But I definitely feel that women's football team can play the World Cup before the men's team.
Okay, you're not alone. You're definitely not alone in that opinion, and
Yeah.
neither of us are going to be very popular among a lot of my friends. But the
Yeah,
truth
but
is
I'm
the truth
hoping
is the truth is the
I,
truth.
I hope that this fitness that I'm maintaining, with this fitness, I'll be able to, whenever we qualify, I hope that I am also in the team and I can also play.
I'm only, I mean, at one level, I'm praying for this lockdown to end, but I know 2 more weeks of it, and Aditi will be just so fit that she will crack everything in its team. So, yeah, so tell me something. You played now for 12 years for almost at an India level. What remains your most memorable experience? What gave you the biggest kick of all?
I think, honestly, every time I'm asked this question, the only image that comes to my mind is the first time I held the national team jersey. It's still the it's very difficult to explain the kind of emotions that you have when you the kind of emotions that you get when you hold the India team jersey with the badge with your name at the back. We've seen so many sports movies being made, and that's always one of the highlight moments of everyone's career. And it's not something that is it's popular because it's such an emotional phase, but it's actually true for every athlete. I think that's one of the biggest honors, especially representing a country like India, which is huge. There's so many people out here. To get that opportunity to be in the top 20 of the country and being able to represent the country is such an honor. So I think obviously throughout my career I've had some great memories, some great achievements. But that always, whenever I'm asked this question, that's always the image that I have in my mind.
That's a great one because I always remember, and the oldies, Sunil Gavaskar used to be a commentator with us, the great Sunil Gavaskar, and I remember once there was an Indian team player. Okay, I won't take his name, who's now a former Indian team fast bowler, who
Yeah.
had a night of passion with somebody on tour and gave this lady his India cap. And
Oh
the
God.
next day, this lady goes up to get an autograph from Sunil Gavaskar wearing this cap.
Oh God.
And Gavaskar said, "Where'd you get that cap from?" And she said, "No, no, no, it's just a friend." And he said, "You tell me or I'll get you arrested."
Yeah.
So she tells him, okay, and
Yeah.
Gavaskar is then a commentator. So he takes the cap off her, and the bus is standing out there. The India team bus is waiting, and they're just waiting to leave. And he gets on, and he just gets onto the bus. And this poor guy is a tall, fast bowler, so long
Right.
legs. He's sitting in the back, and she says, "This cap," and for 10 minutes he just took off everybody's this thing. And this is what an India cap does to you.
Yeah.
That guy didn't even look up. The whole team is looking at him. He's like, "Okay, no, I don't want to know anything about
Oh
this."
God.
So it really makes you feel good because you think about it. There's
Yeah.
700 million Indian women out there.
Yeah.
To be in the first 11 among 700 million must be such a big thing,
Yeah.
such a humbling thing.
Definitely.
So no, fabulous. So from here on, tell us a little bit more about your academy. You're running an academy as well, She Kicks. Tell us about
Right.
it and what you do with it.
So when I completed my sports management, and I was playing the second season in West Ham, I was supposed to fly back to India 2 days before I was supposed to fly back to India to join the national team. I was playing a match for West Ham, and I got an ACL injury. I didn't realize that it was ACL. When I came back, I got my MRI done, and turned out to be a complete tear. And I was away for about 2-3 years by this time, away from India. And I thought, things might have changed drastically. There's so much potential in women's football. I'm sure that there must be
More
a lot of
players.
developments because while, like I mentioned, while growing up, I never got any place or any academy where I could train. So when I came back, I saw that not much had changed. And while I was doing my rehab post the surgery, I was really interested. And the reason why I did sports management was I had this thing in mind that I wanted to come back to India and contribute in the development of women's football, but I didn't know how back then. So while I was doing this rehab, I realized, I came up with this idea of She Kicks, started working on it, and so this was launched. The company was registered in 2017. We started our first center. But the idea of She Kicks was to give girls and women a platform to to play the sport, to pursue their passion for football. And the reason why football is because I know since I've played, with all the experience that I've got, football being a team sport, a physically and mentally demanding sport, I know how transformational it can be for women and girls if they play football, especially for their confidence, for their mental strength, for their personality, overall personality. And that is the reason why I want to encourage, why I want more and more girls across the country to play football a lot more. And this is the reason why we started She Kicks. And with that objective in mind, we're hoping that and this lockdown period has helped me plan a little bit better of what the future would be like for Shikik, because I'm still playing for the country, so it was difficult to juggle and manage both the things. But I think I see this lockdown period as a blessing in disguise for me to work on that plan as well. And hopefully after this phase is over of coronavirus, I hope that we come out very happy and fit, and hopefully we'll be able to take She-Kicks to greater heights.
Well, I'm sure about one part of it. You'll definitely you finish up very fit. That's for sure. I'm sure that's for sure. But that's sure She Kicks will do fantastically as well. It's an amazing thing. And, when we were in the Under-17 World Cup, that's the one thing we'd say that, why is football important to India? People say, why not badminton? Why not tennis? Why not golf? And you say it's the most resource poor sport. You need literally a ball and four chappals, 2 pairs of chappals, and you can play a game. And you can play in small spaces, big spaces, 5-a-side, 3-a-side, 7-a-side, 11-a-side, full game. It is the game most easy to engage game in any surface. So it's really, really important. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open it up and ask for people to send in questions out here. What are the kind of questions? What do they want to ask Aditi? If you have any questions for Aditi, put it in there. In the meantime, I'm going to ask Aditi one last question while you start thinking of yours. That, this Under-17 World Cup, okay?
Yeah.
What do you want it to achieve for India? What do you think? What's the best thing that can happen out of it?
I think I just want the team to do really well. The way the boys put up a great show, although no matter what the result is, because as supporters, as people who are watching, we know what good football is. Everyone knows what good football is, and that's what I want the girls to enjoy that experience, enjoy this moment, because no one has got this opportunity to play the World Cup in India before. So
okay. So I'm just going to cut you with a question on that immediately. So Nidhi has come in with a question saying that what is the perfect age for a girl to start playing football?
I don't think there's any perfect age for anything, to be honest. You can play football at any age. But
no, perfect age to start. I mean,
for professional football, I think professional football, obviously it's recommended that you start early. The early you start, the better it is. But it's then again, it's also important at a younger age to expose the girls or expose the kids to various different sports, because it really helps in the development of various qualities that are very helpful later on. And I think that's one thing that has worked for me also, because I was so involved in other sports that when I finally focused on one sport, I was able to use all the qualities that I gathered from the other sports and focus and use that properly in the field that I had chosen. So
you had started playing. What age did you start playing sport, man? Just playing any sport?
No, so any sport was I think 5-6 years old. I started playing whatever was there, whatever was available. But I started off with taekwondo. Like the first sport that I focused on was taekwondo, because my brother used to do taekwondo, elder brother. So I started off with that when I was, I think, 7 or 8 was the earliest age that they could enroll a kid, was because I'd already was going with my brother for his classes. So as soon as the age limit was open for me, I joined in as well. So I started really early.
But those are the great things, because family is such an important enabler in sports. So Sanjeeva wants to ask, who is your role model in football?
For me in football, it's as a goalkeeper, I've always admired and followed Hope Solo, and I was fortunate enough to meet my idol as well, which was pure coincidence. And of course, Kali Lloyd is one of the most inspirational figures for me. The way she's maintained herself, the kind of work ethic she has for football is immeasurable, and she's definitely someone I look up to.
Sonam's asking question to both of us. Who's your favorite sports person across all sports?
Yeah, what's yours? I think you should
I
go ahead.
actually have a strange one. I used to play basketball. So there's this American basketball player called Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Oh yeah,
who was the ultimate basketball player of those days. So, and I shouldn't be saying this, but if you ever want to, open my computers and all, just think of Abdul Jabbar. Half my passwords would come from there. Sorry, that is a very bad idea. Now I have to spend an hour changing that today.
I hope everyone
What
got
about
that.
you? What about you?
For me, it's Rafael Nadal. Again, someone I follow and admire and adore. I've read his autobiography. I've followed him, his career, his his personality, the way he's come back from injuries, his fighting spirit is just something that really motivates and inspires me.
Okay, perfect. And wait, there's a few more questions. Okay, fitness mantra for football. What is your fitness mantra for football? As in, if you're playing professional football, what's your mantra for football?
I don't know what a mantra would be, but it's just about your focus. Yeah, what's your goal? What's your target? I think that it depends on that. To be honest, because um, it's easy to give up. It's easy to keep pushing it, procrastinating. But if you're focused, if you know what you are training for, if you know what your aim is, everything becomes easier. The mantra, like for every athlete, for every fitness enthusiast, is to eat right, train regularly, follow a professional schedule. There's off season, on season training, different kinds of things that you need to work on with your trainer or your physio, and that's how you develop and progress. I don't
Shivani is asking a question.
Yeah, I don't think there's any mantra.
Sure. There's no mantra. Diet mantra we'll come to later, but Shivani asks, how is the response of the parent when their daughter shows interest and says, okay, she wants to join SeaKick? How have the parents of the people who've come to SeaKick, how have they responded?
Very interesting question. I think that's one of the biggest barriers that we've been facing, and that's one of the most challenging things for us. Is because for every conversion, for every parent who comes with a kid or the girl who's interested, we really have to spend a lot of time convincing the parents of the advantages and why are we encouraging football? Why have we started this exclusively for girls? And what's the future like? The various questions that the parent, like any parent would. But I think that knowledge is still missing. That awareness of the importance of sports, especially a team sport like football. It's not always about making it to the top level. It's not always to be professional or representing India, but sometimes it's just about enjoying the sport as a hobby. Keep using that as a way of fitness. I think that is one of the biggest changes, and that is why I was hoping that with this under 17 World Cup, Women's World Cup, that would help change that perspective further of the parents, especially parents of daughters. Um, they will be able to see a future for girls. They will be able to realize why we're encouraging football amongst girls.
Okay, fabulous. So Mrinder Singh has a question saying that, interesting that English football really took off once, it was commercially, properly exploited. And do you see that, they realize the commercial potential as we know it? So do you think that Indian football really needs the commercial thing to be stronger? I don't know. I mean, part of this answer is that, Reliance has come in, things have changed a lot. Do you think more needs to be done?
For me, I think definitely there's a huge potential. There's still a long way for us. At least for women's football, there's still a long way to go. There is a huge potential here. I think the IWL, which is also which is the professional league, which again it is not entirely professional. Secondly, it's not really a league. because it's just for it's more like a tournament which goes on for a month. So there are definitely a lot of ways and a lot of scope for improvement, and getting more investors, more commercial, investment into it will go a long way in terms of developing the sport in India.
Okay, so Sonali has a very interesting question for both of us, but I'm going to ask you first. This time it's your turn. What do you think of the gender pay gap? What do you think of the gender pay gap in sport?
I think you should answer this. You've got more experience.
Well played. Actually, to be honest with you, Sonali only asked me the question. I thought I was putting it out to you. Look, I genuinely believe that there is the hardcore reaction to this is that guys and girls should be paid exactly the same. The pragmatic reaction people will keep coming and saying is that as long as people are not paying for the sport, it will become financially unviable. The truth is somewhere in between. So I think women's tennis did a fantastic job of that transition, and that transition started because Billie Jean King in 1970s turned around and said, "Pay us as much as the men." And actually, if you look at it, before Nadal and Federer started this run, just before that, I think women's tennis was actually more exciting than men's tennis. It was it was a much more wholesome sport. I think Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic have really added to the men's game recently. But I don't know. There is no correct answer. I think you have to have a certain amount of women have to be paid more for more women to come to the sport. If more women come to the sport, more women will watch sport. If more women watch sport, there will be more money in sport. So it's a vicious circle. And the only way to really improve it is you have to, you may not be equal, but you have to start paying women more to make sure more women come to the sport. And that's the only way to encourage the game. So yeah, that's the only way I'd go about it.
That's an interesting point.
Okay, so Ayush is asking a question. Do we see more such interviews in the future? We first definitely will see more of Aditi Chauhan because she's been absolutely sensational. And the point of it is that she's going to be even fitter the next time you see her. So, you don't ever have to worry about anything. She'll be Miss Super Fit Aditi Chauhan when you see her next. And all I'm saying is that it's been, Aditi, thank you so much. I know that you're waiting for your next gym session right now. Probably your physio and trainers waiting around the corner just for catching you.
Waiting for the weekend to start.
Thank you so much for being there. You've been absolutely fantastic. And thank you.
Joy, it was really a pleasure for me to be interacting with you.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for participating and being a part of this. That was Hudle Up With Joy. We had Aditi as our first guest, and what a sensational first guest. We're going to do a lot more of this, so hope to see you in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Bye.